I was working with Amity, but I've come back to my hometown, that is Bhubaneswar, Orissa, and I'm happy to say that I've joined Birla Global University, and I myself have a startup, a legal startup, which deals with you know mentoring law students across India, and not just law students, but almost every stream. We are also mentoring for the soft skill training, and we are about to launch our CLAT series in Odisha. So this would be the very first time that we do not have any such training institutes in Odisha which deals specifically with the CLAT related. So we are going to start that very soon. And with that, I think thank you for the wonderful introduction that you gave, Shushri. I'm not sure how long will I be able to continue with the camera on and speaking, because there has been some issues with the net even when I was taking class today. But till the time I can continue taking with my camera on, I will definitely keep the camera on. Yeah. So I think this is I would like to start here itself, that this is what technology would offer you. Technology is offering you, to transcend boundaries, to see each other. And I would have loved to see you all if you would, switch on your cameras. If you're allowed to switch on the cameras, if the host allows you to switch on the cameras, that's something that would make us feel, um, you know, more closer, more connected. We are seeing that technology is bringing us closer, but we're also seeing that there is a downside to technology. And you know, I had initially discussed Shushri that I would rather like an interactive session, but then I would like to give a little bit of knowledge that I have, because that is how I would share the knowledge, and at the same time myself will also gain while I share the knowledge. I believe in that. So I think I will go back to history first. But before going back to history, I would ask one question to each one of you. How do you picturize yourself today when you do not have internet for one single day, that is 24 hours? How would your life be? I think that's the impact technology has. I think that's the way society have already changed, right? But let us travel back long time ago, in England. I'm talking about 1800s to the early 1800s. When the owners of the textile mills, they founded themselves, facing an uprising, and they were called as the Luddites Uprising, right? Riots used to, the breakdown, and the rioters borrowed their name from a particular general, a particular person whose name was Luddites, Ned Ludd, who supposedly had broken stocking frames in his anger prior to those that century. And these textile workers who were frustrated, they saw no alternative to these violent protests against the rapid changes in the production mechanism. So that time there was nothing. Everything was manual. Now, but there was some sort of a change that was coming in, and they were unable to cope up with that particular change. And that is why we call it as the Ludite upspring, right? And in order to suppress that upspring or uprising, the United Kingdoms, basically, because that time United Kingdoms was ruling, was colonizing almost everywhere, they passed legislations to curb this particular Ludite uprising. Now let us travel back right now today. When we talk about technological changes, we see that there are some sort of adaptation issues. So I'm connecting today's adaptation issues to the Ludite upspring then, right? So today we can call ourselves, we are, the society itself is a Ludite society today, because it was not simply the introduction of new technology, but at one point of time, important milestones on the road, right? Uh, to the invention of the spinning jenny or the steam engine was also there. So every century after century, you will find that there was some sort of Ludite upspring that was there. Today we have automation. Today we are talking about ships being controlled automatically. When I say controlled automatically, I'm using the word very specifically, controlled automatically, because the ships, majority of the trade that happens in globally is through the oceans, and we have seen Rolls Royals coming out with automated vessels where there will be no crew at all, right? But somewhere someone will be channelizing that particular vessel. Now they say that you know, with this automated vessels, there will be less of collision, there will be less manpower that they require, things will achieve near perfection. And there are already vessels which are running on the oceans which are automated, and there's a lot of buzz going on with regards to automation. Let us come back from the oceans to the land. Right? Paris, Hong Kong, Singapore, US, they've all issued during the pandemic protocols which talk about online dispute resolution. What exactly is this online dispute resolution? We all, this, what exactly we are doing right now is an online mechanism of communication or online mechanism of knowledge sharing. What we had seen in 2000, early 2000 or mid 2020 to today, there have been a lot of change or decline in this particular webinars, online webinars, but we still have, you know, the intensity has changed. The dispute resolution, the protocols that these centers of dispute resolutions have come up with is video conferencing. That means cross-border transactions are taking place, right? Witnesses are there in different parts of the country. Documentations are going on, and I think Lego Desk is one such organization which will help you in providing documentation processes also. So they have come up with an order or a protocol which will help them in seamless dispute resolution. Not everyone couldn't have coped up with so quickly with it. So the European Union have come up with directives. The north of the Atlantic have come up with their directives. How they are going to channelize this dispute resolution mechanism, which is called as the ODR mechanism. Now, ODR has become a very important form of dispute resolution that I would like to say, coupled with the very fact that not just ODR, now they're thinking that in the dispute resolution also, they are going to put in artificial intelligence. They are going to put in smart contracts. We have smart contracts now. What are these smart contracts? These will be program oriented, algorithm oriented. If I sign a contract, let's say with Sushri, there will be an automated dispute resolution encoded software. If the smart contract feels that, you know, we are um, breaching any of the terms of that contract, they will automatically take in uh, that particular thing as a dispute, uh, and they will automatically resolve this dispute. What we see in this, we do see that you know, it is fast, it is effective, there is less manpower that is required. We are now also talking about the very fact that judges will be overtaken by robots, AI. Someone, I just couldn't read the entire question. Someone was talking about deep machine learning, right? There's an international debate which is going on right now with regards to replacing the arbitrators with robotic arbitrators or AI based arbitrators. They are not humans, they are pseudo humans or quasi humans. They are like humans. They will react like humans. They will judge like humans. But the question is, how perfect will they be? There are scholars who have written, because I'm an academician, I would speak more about scholars over here. Various scholars have written that they are going to achieve near perfection. They're even going to have emotions based outcomes. Now, what will be the impact of it? Parties who are entering into transactions will be able to predict what will be the outcome. Right now, what is happening is um, we are unable to predict what a judge will pronounce a judgment, what an arbitrator will pronounce the award. We are unable to predict. We can just say that previously he had given such kind of a decision. Today he might give a similar decision, but we are not sure of. But when it comes to an AI based um, uh, decision making, we can predict this sure shot. If this is the dispute, if these are the evidences given, it will automatically take into picture and give this as the outcome. So this I believe is one of the biggest um, um, achievements that modern days will bring um, in terms of how dispute will be resolved in the future. But technological innovations for dispute resolution is often discussed either from the perspective of the courts or from the perspective of private dispute resolution providers. So, on one side, we have the courts who are sovereign bodies functioning as a state, and they have their procedural formalities which they are bound to follow. And on the other side, we have the private dispute resolvers who are not bound to follow these procedural nitty gritties, right? Now, technology will come and play an important role in this. Now, I would like to share with you an important aspect. So, where I was into the the ODR technology, which they have categorized into three tier one, tier two, and tier three. Tier one is you evaluate the problem. Okay, so first tier is problem diagnosis, information, and self help. And technology here will help in information exploring and auto resolving of this or solution finding a solution automatically. So after you diagnose the problem in tier 1, that you evaluate in tier 1, you have the second tier where there is a mediation process, party to party negotiation, or what we call it as a case management facilitated by ADR and hearing preparations, right? So once this tier 2 mediation is completed, you will have a tier 3 which is called as adjudication. Here we have CMS, case management system. You don't have to be present physically. You can just upload the documents and the information, and the technology will automatically diagnose the problem, will try to mediate or negotiate, and then ultimately come to the third tier that it will adjudicate. So you see that there is less of brain that is being utilized, human brain that is being utilized, more of algorithms that is being utilized over here. In the courtrooms, even today, we see 10% of technology that is being used. video conferencing technology, CMS technology, that is case management technology, services of documents by email, access to legal information by electronic means, automated document generation, and you also find e-archives. Now you find um, now you find that WhatsApp. In WhatsApp also, the court is sending in summons. In WhatsApp, the court is sending or compelling the witness to come into the court. So from the legislator's perspective, technology might provide a variety of effective measures, to combat the shortcomings of national court systems, such as inefficiency, time, and cost. But the problem is implementing these digital technologies, because there will be investment that is there will be maintenance that will be there, and on the same time, there will be unemployment that will be there. This is a very big negative side, that technology, because if we have technology, we will the work can be done by experts, right? Countries like India, countries like Africa, countries like China, there will be a huge gap between employment and unemployment. That's one of the very big and upfront negative impact of technology in dispute resolution. I would uh, um, I would like to now come into some sort of examples that I would like to give you, and try to show you how technology has changed or will change the way dispute resolution is being seen today. Now, please listen to this very carefully. I'll give you 6 case studies which will help you understand this topic in a very thorough manner. Helsinki based artist. Her name is Violetta. Helsinki is in Germany. So, Helsinki based artist Violetta has bought a used hi fi amplifier from Bob's Compound Sound Waves. Now, his office is located in Berlin, in Germany. But after receiving the item, Violetta has refused to pay the agreed price of 1,000 euros. Now, according to Violetta, there is a scratch on the amplifier, and she was not aware of at the time of purchase. Now, see, these are all live examples or real life examples which is happening. So there is a contract of purchase and sale. Since they were not able to reach to a settlement among themselves, what does Bob do? Bob files a claim on behalf of his company at the district court in Helsinki. Now, the court accesses judgment, obligates Violetta to make a full payment plus interest to Bob. But Violetta refuses to comply with the court's order. What happens then? Bob contacts the enforcement authorities to collect the debt from Violetta's salaries and transfers the whole sum to Bob. Now, in this case, Bob relies on the public court system to enforce his legal position. And the procedure had 2 elements. What were the 2 elements? One was the adjudicative process that ends when the judgment is rendered, and then the additional debt recovery procedure. Both these phases take place within the same public system without any kind of technology that is being used, except for the fact that debt recovery happens through online banking system. And online banking system has been there prevalent since a long time. Let me take you to the next example or the next case study. This experience with Violetta is still fresh in the minds of Bob. So Bob agrees to install a complete sound system to club owner Jacqueline's newest club, the Peekaboo, in Barcelona. The price of the sound system is 1 lakh or 100,000 euros and is agreed upon, and on Jacqueline's insistence, An arbitration clause is included in the contract between her and Bob's company. So you see, not just this contract will have the court's jurisdiction, but there is a private resolver who comes into picture, that is an arbitration. Let us forget for the time being institutional based arbitration. Let us think that arbitration is an ad hoc arbitration. Right. So there is, however, a problem with the installation, and the sound system does not match the technical specifications agreed upon in the contract. Bob refuses to compensate the fault. Now, this time it is the fault of Bob. Bob refuses to compensate the fault, and Jacqueline takes the matter to an arbitration procedure because there was an arbitration clause. After a relatively quicker procedure, the arbitral tribunal decides in favor of Jacqueline and obligates Bob to pay her the compensation of 30,000 euros. Now, here, Bob refuses to pay once again. I mean, this time Bob refuses to pay. So Jacqueline contacts the district court. She goes to the court in Berlin, where Bob's company is still located. She asks the court to enforce the arbitral award in accordance with the New York Convention. And I'm presuming that you all know about the New York Convention. The German courts recognizes the award in a summary process quickly, and after this, Jacqueline has the award enforced through the public enforcement authorities. Now, what is the difference between these two case studies? In the second case study, by choosing arbitration over public courts, Jacqueline saves time. Although the cost of arbitration might exceed the legal costs, the cost in the courts, because there could be arbitrators' cost which is not there in the public courts system, because the judges are appointed by the state machinery, right? Moving ahead, now I've shown you one public court ka example, one private resolution ka example. Moving ahead to the third case. I hope you guys are all there with me. Are you guys all there with me?
Yes, but actually the participants are on mute because the size of the call is otherwise huge. So yeah, people are saying that yes in chat.
Okay, all right. All right. Okay, great. Now, I had this in mind that I will give you these live examples because these are the things that I dealt with, because, and this will give you a wider understanding of technology in the interface of technology and law and society. In the third thing, what happens is Mr. Matthew browses around an e-commerce site in the hope of finding a modular synthesizer for the right price. We all do that. We all look into Flipkart, we all look into Amazon, and these days there are many more. Myntra, Insta, maybe you have ads where we find so many items. So Mr. Matthew browses this e-commerce site and hopes that he will find a good modular synthesizer at the right price. He again finds Bob's company Soundwaves and is about to place an order before noticing that the products are shipped from Germany. So he decides to go through the user reviews about other buyers' experiences with Bob. Seeing that Bob has several reviews complaining about damage to the product during delivery, Matthew decides to buy the synthesizer from another seller. As a trustworthy redress mechanism might not be available, consumer trust in the reliability of this e-commerce is upheld by other means of directing behavior. Here, the e-commerce site adopts the perspective of conflict prevention as it rewards appropriate behavior. So, what is the mechanism that this e-commerce site, adopted in order to resolve disputes? Is user behavior. Please try to understand this. We all do this. Don't we look into the reviews? Don't we see how many 5 stars do we have? This is one mechanism of dispute resolution which we are not aware of. This is called as prevention of disputes. Right. Then let me take you to the next example. Now, the German sound system expert Bob orders some wires for his home-built modular synthesizer online from a US-based company. The name of the company is Oscillating Vibes. The wires, although functioning, are not to Bob's liking, as they are pink and not black as he supposed them to be based on the listing photo. In the photo it was black, but what he received was a pink color wires. Where no settlement is reached between Bob and the American company that's oscillating vibes, the company refused to refund. Now Bob decides to settle this dispute through an ODR mechanism of given in the e-commerce site. After the photos provided by Bob are compared to the listing photos, the e-commerce site decides to refund the cost of the wires and also the shipping fees to Bob's. Based on the user agreement, Oscillating Vibes is obligated to reimburse the amount to the e-commerce site, and if necessary, the sum is then automatically deducted from the company's account on the e-commerce site. We have been doing this regularly with Zomato. If the food is not good or if there is a wrong delivery, we send the photo. There is an ODR mechanism of dispute resolution. They refund the amount or they give you vouchers in the wallet. Here in this example, we see that dispute resolution and enforcement are both provided by the e-commerce site itself. I will now take the final example. The final example is the Spanish club owner Jacqueline has recently gained some fame with her old band Black Vixen from Outer Space. A booking agency contacted Jacqueline and complained about not finding the band's homepage, although it had remained the same www.blackvixensfromouterspace.com for several years. What happened? Apparently, Jacqueline had forgotten to renew the registration of the domain name. After this, Jacqueline discovered that the domain name had already been claimed by a dealer who wanted to sell it at a higher price. Someone had beforehand itself, after the expiry of the domain name, probably I would have bought it, and when Jacqueline wanted to again buy it, I would have I would have then asked her a higher price, and that is how I would have made profit out of it. Now Jacqueline wants to regain the ownership of this band's domain name and contacts the ICANN. What is ICANN? The Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, which usually gives the domain names. Right? ICANN redirects Jacqueline's claim to an approved dispute resolution service provider who applies ICANN's specific policy for resolving domain name disputes, which is the UDRP, Uniform Dispute Resolution Policy. As the decision is rendered in favor of Jacqueline's claim, ICANN executes the decision by registering the domain name to the domain name system, to her domain name system. So although the UDPR rule do not prevent parties from taking the dispute to the court, it is unclear whether and how often court proceedings are initiated after the specialized process. So what we see over here is that with the evolution of technology, I have given you 6 examples, starting from just the court system to just the arbitration system to mixed of court and arbitration system to just an ODR system, and then how e-commerce sites and dispute resolution happens. Right? And in the same mechanism, today we find that smart contracts, which I was talking about. Already, the smart contracts are software embedded contracts, which embeds in the contract clauses, which contains dispute resolution clauses, and they automatically um, diagnose the dispute, applies the law, and then finds or adjudicates and gives the decision. This is faster and fairer redressal. Right. We also see that in transnational financial disputes, when parties are in different countries, technology transcends the distance. Witnesses might be in Greece, the case might be happening in India, and the witness can give its testimonials or its confessions, or the accused might give its confessions, and everything will be recorded, and that will be produced before both the private resolvers as well as the court based, and you find adjudication process being complete. We now also have, for especially for the legal field, we now have AI based research engines like Manupatra, like Westlaw. We have AI based search, legal search engines, wherein if you just click on a particular word, it will redirect you to those. But for example, if you're looking for environmental damage, it will, and there are a lot of cases that have come up based on that particular phrase that you have used. You click one particular case law, and it will automatically take you to the paragraph that you're looking for. So you see, research has also been made easier with AI based technological innovations, right? Cause list which is there, manual cause list which is there in the courtroom, they are now available online, and you will be able to know which is the next date online rather than going to the court itself. There's also a prediction that technology will help in lessening the biases that humans had while decide. And whether you agree or not, if let's say today I know Shushri and I am a judge tomorrow, and Shushri has a case, there will be some sort of bias in favor of Shushri, right? So it is being argued that technology driven judges, technology driven arbitrators will lessen the biases because they will not be able to know who Shushri is, who Pallab is, who XYZ is. It is automatically algorized in such a manner. We now have electronic submissions, witness presentations, experts who come in, who become amicus curiae in cases and can remotely sit for a case. Because of technology, you will have less travel expenses. And of course, you have nowadays mobile applications. And there is, the e-commerce contracts, which I was talking about. This is called as bespoke contracts. That means the contract speaks for itself. Okay. And one question I have in this, are these technology based, how do I put it, these technology based softwares, are they labor? Because, you know, when humans were there, we could have said that they're employees. Okay. When technology comes into picture, if there is a dispute in the technology itself, who will resolve them? This is the biggest question that is there. Right. The Niti Aayog, under the commission of retired Justice A.K. Sikri, had, uh, there was a commission that had set, or a committee that was set to see the applicability of technology in India. Yeah. So, based on Justice A.K. Sikri's committee, there was a mission called as the E-Court Mission Mode project. And I think in the next 10 years, every court will become an e-court. I had cleared the judiciary, the lower judiciary, and when I was there, I had seen that the project being slowly implemented. Then you have e-lok adalats, and very recently there was a national court adalats where there was humongous amount of cases that was disposed of. Humongous amount of cases that was disposed of. Blockchain driven arbitration processes for smart contracts are coming into the mainframe. There is automatic enforceability also. How that will be done, that is a question that is still in the debate phase. And Several legislations are going into amendments, changing the definitions. India now has the mediation legislation of 2020, where Honorable Minister Justice, Honorable Minister Mr. Kiran Jiju had spoke about this particular enactment about mediation. They are planning for online mediation also. And in India, we do have this software called as the SUVAS software, SUVAS, the SUVAS software, which is an AI integrated software to translate judgments and orders automatically. Right? So we are not left behind to the Western world, although the Western world has advanced in a lot many manner, but uh, we are also following this particular road of technology based dispute resolution. So I think this is all that I wanted to share with you when it comes to the content that is ongoing. I am uh, I open the floor for discussion, and if there are any questions, I am happy to take those questions.
Yes, there are a bunch of questions, Pallab. I will read out to them so that you can answer them. So Abhishek is asking, in your opinion, could a spectrum of deep technologies bring positive disruption to our current dispute resolution system?
Positive disruption.
Yes, positive disruption.
I am taking this as a positive change that you meant, right, Abhishek?
Yeah.
I believe I believe that yes, there will be a positive change in the present dispute resolution. Things will become much more faster. Things will become much more easier. Let me tell you one thing. Ground realities are very different. If you today go to the court, or if you go to any authority which is a decision making authority, finding the person on the chair itself is a humongous amount of energy that is being wasted. The person might be there, might not be there. There'll be date after date. Assume or think that the same thing is, there's a dispute between you and your neighbor. You want to get it resolved, and you sit. The only thing you need to do is that you need to get used to the computer and the softwares. You put into the dispute that you have, and things take within a month, things are resolved. I think it's a beauty that technology has. Of course, there are many other things. Security is a very big issue in technology. Hacking is a very big issue in technology. Today, we are thinking of implanting a small chip on the brain just above the top of the ear, wherein it will help cure Alzheimer's disease, schizophrenia disease, and you will be able to erase the memories which you don't want to keep down and add new memories. We are heading towards that direction, right? And I think you all know Elon Musk is doing that, and he has openly asked for anyone volunteers to experiment that particular chip. We are heading to there. Backlog is still there, correct? And how do we get a solution to this? I think if we can divert all those cases to the ODR mechanism, it's a beautiful platform, and these ODR mechanisms will be able to resolve. And how you do we have do we not have experts in every field? Why is it that only courts will resolve disputes? Why can't we hand over these disputes to experts who can sit in the ODR mechanism and resolve these disputes? Academicians are there, experts are there, who are well versed in the field, who are well versed with the law. But the law is made in such a manner that we are not allowed to go and practice. Think about a society where experts resolve the disputes. Think about a society where academicians resolve dispute. I think backlog is just an excuse given by the court that to retain the monopoly of the court system. Yes, Oshri.
Yeah, that's a great point actually, Pallab. So, yeah, moving on to the next question. I guess this is a reference to something that you spoke earlier, where you were saying that AI can help predict what will be the outcome of stuff. So Arvind asks, how can AI in dispute resolution be helpful if we can already predict the outcome? Because then people will tamper with the or manipulate the evidence that we are filing.
See, manipulating or tampering the evidence is a very secondary issue. If you are able to predict the cases, then parties will not prefer to go to the courts or the dispute resolution because they know कि we don't have any case. Why will we go to a dispute resolution provider? They will try to amicably settle, negotiate, and have a settlement between themselves. That's the benefit of prediction. I hope I've answered you.
So Arjita has asked a question that you have already answered, but anyways, I'll read it. How well does online dispute resolution help resolve lawsuits outside the courtroom?
Can you come again? How?
How does online dispute resolution help resolve lawsuits outside the courtroom?
Oh yes.
Yeah, you already answered it. So
Yeah, I'll just add up to that thing. See, there is speed. There is speed. There is less cost. There is less procedural nitty gritties which we avoid. If you go to court, you have to be very particular about the procedure that you are following. If you take it outside, you don't have to go through those legislative procedures that is there.
right.
Right.
So moving on to some question that was put by Huda Almira. I hope I am pronouncing the name right, which is a question wherever there is AI and technology coming, any industry or any vertical, this is a very relevant question, which is like, will lawyers and judges still be required, or these qualifications will be necessary in future?
Yes, that is where my point is. Lawyers and judges will definitely be required. Yeah. No technology based thing can ever change or replace human efficiency, because you will not be able to um, embed algorithm based emotions. Okay. And I really don't know in my lifetime will I ever be able to see that judges are being replaced or lawyers are being replaced. We will still require. And that is the main threat that technology is providing. What will happen 50 years down the line? Will we still have employment left because of technology? Right? I think this is my personal opinion. Judges, lawyers, arbitrators, experts can never be changed or can never be replaced, no matter how much of technology we will have. Because one small glitch in the technology and the entire world goes blackout.
Right.
Right?
So Bharat is raising his hand. Bharat, I'm going to allow your mic so that you can ask your question directly. Please go ahead. Bharat?
I can't able to read this video. That's why I raised my hand.
Okay, fine. Pallav, there are a few more questions. Uh, Metha is asking how robots can give an award in arbitration like humans, because it is like like process of compromise. So yeah.
Uh, okay, very good question. When you submit a dispute before an arbitration tribunal, you document it, right? You submit your application, you submit your petition, you submit your documents, evidences, and everything is given to the arbitrator. The arbitrator goes through the case. There's hearing that goes on, and then the arbitrator passes its award. The same procedure will be followed when it is being replaced by AI-based mechanism. Rather than speaking, I believe everything will be embedded in that particular AI-based robot itself. And based on what you have embedded, it will automatically calculate those algorithms and then give you a particular judgment award. That is my question, because we need to test this. How accurately can they come up, whether it will be giving the right award or not? If that is being made possible, then I believe there will be no appeal that will be ever made. Of course, parties can definitely challenge these awards, but again, they will have to bring it before another AI based mechanism in front of this thing. But that's for time to wait and see, I believe. We have to test that, whether they are giving the exact accurate. Because see, now let me tell you one thing, and I've been trying to tell you this, but I've been skipping it in my mind. You must have seen that you are thinking something, and the mobile phone, because you are holding the mobile phone, it reads the senses, the neural senses, and whatever you're thinking, sometimes you see that those advertisements come into picture. Or the other way, you probably might have been having a conversation with regards to one particular issue with your friend, your family, and suddenly you open Facebook, you open Instagram, you see that similar advertisements, similar videos come up. And if you have seen that particular movie, um, what was that movie that was very famous, social network or something, right? if
Yeah, Netflix
techno-
social network. Yeah.
if if technology can sense what you're thinking, just try to think where technology is today and what technology can do if you just give the right information, embed the right information.
I guess
Right.
by saying this, Pallav, you also answered Alan Alex's questions, but I'm going to read it anyway. The AI blockchain would certainly help in prediction, but what about the unique character of each case? The legal acumen of the lawyers and judges are also relevant. For instance, in an ideal world, the AI blockchain based interface would try and predict based on the best case scenario, but we will not have that ideal world situation in the real world. So how do we address that?
See, let me tell you, I am a person who is against technological advancement, and I call myself as a Ludite, to be very honest. Why I'm saying this? Because your right to privacy is hampered, your right to enjoy is hampered. There is a subtle enjoyment in whatever you do. Going to the court, meeting, networking, being on the dais, being off the dais. Human touch is very important. And I have been saying this in different forums, that I am in favor of 20% technologization of things and 80% humanization of things. We must not technologize everything that is possibly being done. And I'm putting this on record, and I know this is being recorded. Go to China, everything is, your entire house is filled with technology. That that is a very sorry state, because it hampers your brain functions. It hampers your freedom, your liberty, which Constitution guarantees. You are living around radio waves. You're living around things which a sort of technological pollution, which is not good for humanity. And I think I call myself as Ludite in that ways.
So moving on, Gabriel is asking again an all important questions that is relevant to all of the sectors whenever technology is being considered. Will we then need a new field of legal ethics and computer science for people to properly code these algorithms and ensure that minimal facts and considerations get ignored or missed? If so, how should that field be developed?
Well, yes, again, humans are the ones who will develop it. No technology can develop this. Someone will have to code it and based on that code, legislations will come into picture. Now, what you are trying to say is a utopian concept, and it will take some time to materialize. But yes, there will be a day when you will find that laws are made, or ethics, a bunch of ethical code is being dictated by technology, and the technology will not accept. We do see when sometimes when we have sweat on our fingers, we try to open the mobile phone, it says that sorry, wrong password. So if ethics is coded or embedded, I think if you are going in the wrong way, it will not accept the answer itself. It will try to rebel or revolt. Yes.
Yeah. So while you're talking about this ethics and all, something comes to my mind. I'm sure you have seen Avengers, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
there happens, Ultron comes back to life and he decides that the humans have no ethics, no morality, so it needs to be wiped out. So yeah, interesting. So moving on to the last question, Pallav, Huda
Thank
is
you.
asking.
Thank you. It's the last question. I've had a very long day today. Yeah.
I am so sorry for that. So yeah, so Huda is asking, do I understand that mediators will become popular, or are we to expect also AI mediation?
Oh, yes, yes. I am in favor of mediations, and I'm in favor of mediators. I'm open to the fact that AI based mediators are also there, because we must all believe in peaceful and harmonized societal existence. If disputes are settled in the way of mediation, and we are not required to go into courtroom based or arbitration based settlement resolution, dispute resolution mechanisms, I think the future is mediation, and the future is ODR, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, so so Alan is asking another question, and I'm so sorry, Pallab, but it's an interesting discussion. So this will, I promise this will be the last one. Who can be held liable for the glitches that are bound to happen in due course in these AI-based judicial applications?
Okay, I think you will get this answer. When a company is being incorporated, the company has its own juridical existence or a legal existence, right? But it is run by humans. There are accidents, there are criminal acts, there are civil wrongs that take place. But whom do we consider as who did this particular wrong? And that is where we have this particular doctrine of lifting up of the corporate veil, right? Who was running the show? Whether the company is liable or whether the director is liable. And I think on similar lines, we need to find out who was running the show in the AI based, who coded it, right? And we need to enact proper laws to see that if there are technological glitches. Now, tell me, if today, right now itself, something happens and the entire webinar is stopped, whom will you blame? Can you blame Legodesk? Legodesk tried its level best to organize technology based a webinar or a knowledge sharing session. Will you blame me because my internet got over, right? Or there was some technical problem in my internet? You will then have to go and find out. Of course, you will blame Legodesk because they were the organizers, but that's on a lighter note. But we probably need to find out who was running the show and the entire show.
Yeah. Okay, so I must say this was absolutely enlightening, Pallab. Having said that, we are drawing a close, and I would like to thank you and all the participants who joined us on a Thursday evening. Yeah, do you want to say a concluding note or something, Pallab, or can we close it?
I think thank you, Legodesk. I hope that I was able to, um, give you some knowledge with regards to where technology is, the concepts of technology by the way of case study sharing. I hope you enjoyed the session. That much I can say, because we all need to enjoy every educational sharing that takes place. I hope that you all enjoyed, and that I was able to intrigue the minds, young minds that have attended. Right. That's all. Over to you, Trishri.
Yes, so I we will just post Pallav's LinkedIn ID in the chat, and I seem to have some issue with my LinkedIn, so I'll do that after we wrap up the webinar. So once again, thanks a ton, Pallav, and thanks a lot to all of the participants and all of those who are like actively participating by asking questions. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Visit Lego Desk for more information.